Okay, we're almost there. Should be okay. Thank you for tuning in to this celebration of life. This is going to be a little different from my other videos, but I wanted to honor the life of Mr. Squirrel. He was very near and dear to my heart. Life won't be the same without you. They say the good die young. What they should say is the best die young. Mr. Squirrel, you little rascal. I didn't know you when you danced on Earth's luscious grass, but I feel as though I've known you all my life. I can see it in your eyes when I look at your picture. And even though you lie still, I can still hear your little claws scampering about the trees, clawing at an acorn that you wish to take home to save for later. You know, I heard somewhere that 80% of the food that squirrels save for later they end up losing. Was that true for you, Mr. Squirrel? Is that a universal rule, or does it vary from squirrel to squirrel? I guess it doesn't matter now, does it? It's funny, you know. You squirrels remind me of myself when I was just a kid. In the cafeteria, grasping at the Welch's fruit snacks left by my mom in my Thomas the Tank Engine lunchbox. I always had to peel off the little sticky note messages she left to get the good stuff.
Have a great day, sweetheart. Hugs and kisses, honey bunny. Make a new friend today. Andrew, you can't be like this forever. You can't write off any and all human connection. It's not natural. You need to put yourself out there, damn it. Put yourself out there for Christ's sake. Get out of your room now. Unlock your door. It kills me to see you like this.
I always saved the fruit snacks for break time later. All the other kids were jealous. They wish they had snacks as cool as mine. That's probably why they didn't talk to me. It felt too bad about their inferior Nutter Butters and rich cheese crackers. Back then, we all scampered about. Bunch of little critters without a care in the world. Climbing trees, stuffing our faces with goodies. We were all so carefree, so full of joy, such untamed bliss. Before we got old and self-aware, self-conscious, it was so easy then, just squirreling around, before I could ever realize that I was the odd one out. Now, I'd like to take a moment to listen to Mr. Squirrel's favorite song. I have no way of knowing that he actually had a favorite song, but I'd like to think that if he did, it would be this one.
Open your eyes.
Oh no. Come on.
For me, come into the when it's cold outside. Am I here in vain? Hold on to the night. There will be no shame. Always I wanna be with you and make believe with you and live in harmony, harmony all alone.
Mr. Squirrel, God, I bet you had 100 squirrel friends. Maybe even a little squirrel wife who kissed you when you got home from work and cuddled with you while you watched TV. Maybe you had some squirrel kids too. A boy and a girl who you spoiled with gifts every time you got home from a business trip. Because even though you were never home for long, they were always on your mind. Always. And you wished you could bring them with you on those trips. You desperately wanted to, but your little squirrel wife said, "Oh no, he'll get airsick. He's a very sensitive boy. He has enough trouble leaving the house to go to school, let alone leave the state or the country. You'll just have to go. Forget about him. Keep sending us money and we're doing fine. We're always doing fine. We don't need you here. We don't need you." No, Mrs. Squirrel would never say that. She loved you because people love before they hate. People love before they hate. People love unconditionally for as long as they can, as long as they're willing, as long as they have the energy for it. Where did you get all that energy, Mr. Squirrel? How do you do it? Climbing trees, gathering food, having friends, a family, a home? Seems like all the things that make someone happy take so much effort, so much time. How do you do it? How? You know, I bet Mrs. Squirrel never even got sick of you, huh? Your love was always new, always fresh. I bet she never screamed at you or threw a curling iron at your head while your little squirrel kids watched from outside the sliding glass door because you told her you didn't want to stay. You always wanted to stay because you loved her and you loved your kids and you'd never leave them behind with nothing but a pat on the back and a hand-me-down suit that they'll never grow into because your shoes were always too big to fill. So big you couldn't fill them yourself. No, Mr. Squirrel, your shoes fit perfectly. And you'd never leave your squirrel family behind because they were enough for you. They made you happy. And what more could you ask for? Were you happy? Was that life the nuclear option, the white picket fence with the catalog wife and kids? Was it enough for you, Mr. Squirrel? Is that really all life is? We're born, we scurry, then gather, and then mate. Scurry, gather, mate, scurry. Succeed, fail, and then we're hit by a car? All that scurrying, gathering, mating, and succeeding and failing, it's all over in the blink of an eye. Sure, it varies from tree to tree, but it always starts and ends the same way. Why even bother? You're still smiling. I can see your little teeth. God, you really were happy, weren't you? Is that the point then? Is that why we put up with God's cruel game of repetition? For those little moments of joy? The happiness we can salvage from this wreck of life? Is it even a gift to die happy? To die unexpected and ignorant? Is it a gift or a curse? Your unknown demise. You didn't even realize that when you crossed that street it'd be your last time. So you never got to say goodbye. You never got to say what you felt. All your secrets bound up forever. But they're bound up behind a smiling face. Are you glad you died like that, Mr. Squirrel? Why did you have to die so happy while the rest of us have to live so miserable? Why is it that something that appreciates life have it taken away, while those who are too scared to get rid of theirs, those who hate living, they have to keep going? Keep moving like we don't mind the loneliness, like we don't mind the judgment from our peers, like we don't mind the stares in the cafeteria and the quiet nights at home alone with your mother in her room sobbing and your father nowhere to be found. While those who get so distracted behind the wheel because their vision is shrouded in tears end up crushing an innocent, joyous creature that's just trying to get back to its family by dinner time. Why am I the taker of life? Why am I so miserable, but I have to get up in the morning and deal with it anyway? When Mr. Squirrel, who loved life and everything in it, is getting stuck in the ground. Why?
Tears fill up my head. We can't stay on this bed forever. But I sort of thought when I left your room you'd come running out, say I left too soon, but it's 5 a.m. You should get some sleep. See you in the evening, maybe 2 or 3. Off to college today, my first school without friends. Here's my chance to start new. Here's my chance to pretend that I'm not quite as sad as my music lights on, and I'm not quite as mad that in love with someone who lives oceans away. I could swim if she wanted, but she thinks it'd be best if we both just move on. That's not something she'd say if she hadn't already.